Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 6, and I'm going to call this one a collector or an addict. Which one am I? I don't know if addict is the right term maybe, but I am buying more than I think the average person would. Now I do sell, and I sold quite a few this week, but I definitely bought more than I sold once again. But I did go to a few different places over the last few weeks. You know, the record sale, a new record store, the record store in my hometown where I found that John Martin record I'd been looking for. And then this week I went to Rockbox Records in a place called Mount Bridges in Ontario, just a little bit outside of London. And it was a fantastic place. I could have spent way more money than I did. I will probably go back not too far in the distant future and do some more buying. Some buying for myself, some buying for flipping, reselling. Because just had a great collection there. And I think they replenish pretty frequently. And it was a super friendly place, very comfortable, good lighting. That's a very important for me, is a record store that has good lighting. I don't want to be trying to determine whether something has scuffs or scratches or marks on it, and you're trying to do that in the dark. It doesn't really make sense. So a well-lit place. But yes, I did buy a fair number of records. So we're going to do the flip video, and then after that I'm going to pull some individual records out of those in the box. It is a box full. So this is the box for basically the month of June. And I'm going to go through some of those, some standouts in that box. Well, they're all pretty good, but I think some are more impressive than others. So stay tuned, and that's what's coming up. All right, let's hope I'm not too shaky. I tried to do this with the tripod, and it was just not getting the right angle. So here we go. First up, everything you see is me, Rasa. This was a couple of brothers, very young teenagers, and their mother told them they should make a record to help draw people to the Hare Krishna movement. So they did. Lee Ritenour, Rio. Jimmy Spears, The Dragon is Dancing. Musical Lutes. Wham! Wake Me Up Before You Go extended single, and Freedom extended single. Blondie Auto American, which I will talk about a bit later. BT Express, Do It Till You're Satisfied. That is XTC, Black Sea, XTC Drums and Wires. Commodores, Greatest Hits. Percussive jazz, kind of that cool jazz, smooth jazz kind of stuff, late 50s, early 60s. Doctored for stereo with a giant hypodermic needle. Probably not the best PR move, but anyway. Janet Jackson, Miss You Much, extended single, and Love Will Never Do Without You, extended single. Rubicon, I'll explain later in the later part of the video. McKenzie Spring, I will also talk about. They are a little bit of a country rockish kind of thing. The Nice, I'm going to talk about them a bit later. Early prog psychedelic stuff. That is the Gap Band, You Dropped a Bomb on Me, 13-minute version. Trans X, Living on Video, talk about that later. Stevie, Songs in the Key of Life, I got that one for, I think, $5. Going back to Indiana, Jackson 5. Exception 3, Exception is experimental prog kind of stuff. Another copy of Court of the Crimson King. Harmonium, also prog, kind of folky prog. XTC, English Settlement. PFM Cook, I have no idea. I just saw the cover and thought, oh, a pot full of snakes. That's got to be interesting. Traffic, Reaping. I saw that once before and missed out on it, so I grabbed it this time. Another Larry Coryell record, The 11th House, featuring Larry Coryell. Steve Hillage, who was part of the Canterbury scene way back in the day. I haven't listened to it yet. I'll listen to it later. The Ohio Players Gold, so it's got pretty much every great Ohio Players song on it except for The Funky Worm. No Funky Worm on this one. I don't know why. Funky Worm should be the first song. SRC Milestones. I don't know much about it. I've seen it a few times before, and I've heard a couple people talk about it and said it was pretty good, so I grabbed it. It was cheap. Babe Ruth Stealin' Home. Babe Ruth, not very well known in North America, but pretty well known in the UK, and I kind of like them. So I've got a couple of their other records. So same as Barclay James Harvest, very popular more in Europe and the UK than they are in North America, but I've got quite a few of theirs. Stylistics, yeah, Philly soul kind of stuff, so that's always good. Quiet Riot, Mental Health, yeah, that was of a certain time, but very popular at that time. Huge, as a matter of fact. I still kind of like it now and then. I'll probably sell that one. This copy of Guns N' Roses I will talk about later on in the video, because there's something special about this one other than the rip on the corner. Gary McFarland's Soft Samba, I just saw that it was on Verve, so I thought, well, that's probably worth it. I like the samba sound, and stuff that's on Verve is usually pretty solid. The Johnny Lewis Trio, The In Crowd, I don't know. I just saw it and thought, okay, maybe it's, you know, it's 65, so it might be more of that cool swinging jazzy kind of stuff. There's a copy of British Steel with no cover, or with a blank cover, but it's a good record, and the only copy I have is my brother's old copy, and it is beat. Exception, I have one other Exception record. I think it might be in the box here. Again, proggy kind of stuff, experimental, good, very good stuff. Barabbas, or Barabbas, I'm guessing it's Barabbas. That is Spanish prog and a little bit of Afro beat kind of mixed into it. Hugo Montenegro doing all the stuff from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, so all three of those mixed in there. We Dig Jazz, I just saw it, and it was a really cool cover, and it's probably more of that swingy jazz kind of stuff, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. No guarantees on what it's going to sound like. Mongo Santa Maria, this is more high energy, jazzy, poppy, Afro-Cuban kind of stuff. It's hard to describe. That's my copy of Solid Air. That was the other one I got that same day, was that Charlie Bird Bossa Nova on Riverside. Rush, yeah, Permanent Waves, not my favorite record, but I didn't have it, so I bought it. I got a couple of Curved Air records. That was one of them. And the Shy Lights record. That's the first Smiths record. Don't look at that price tag. It's, yeah, it's ridiculous. But another copy of Caressive Steel, because I bought one and it was not the best, so now I've got another one. Humble Pie Smokin', I'll talk about that later in the video. Same with the Hats Off, Mariachi Brass, R.E.M. Green, Jazz Impressions of Eurasia, Dave Brubeck, Doors, LA Woman, Sandy Denny solo record, Lakeside, Fantastic Voyage, King Curtis, Instant Groove, Van de Graaff Generator, World Record, very clean copy. Fleetwood Mac, first one with Stevie and Lindsay. Pink Panther, Henry Mancini, love the Mancini stuff. Wishbone Ash, I really do like Wishbone Ash. I didn't have this one, it was cheap, I bought it. Another Mountain record, that is the third Mountain record I bought in probably the last month. That's a live one. That is the Iron Man, the musical by Pete Townsend. I don't remember what year it came out, but it was a pretty good record, actually. Another 11th House and Larry Coryell record. Justin Hayward, John Lodge. That's somewhat prog, somewhat a little bit prog, a little bit pop, moody blues kind of thing, you know. A soundtrack from the TV show The Prisoner. If you don't know The Prisoner, watch it. It's a little trippy. It's very weird, but it's very cool. Madonna True Blue, Nazareth Greatest Hits. I just sold a copy, so I needed another one. Eagles Greatest Hits, always good, always sells, and I still like it. Osibisa, Afro beat kind of stuff. Very cool, very funky. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. Not my favorite Miles Davis record, but I didn't have it, so I grabbed it. Sinatra, All Alone. I just really liked the cover, and it was cheap. Amazing Blondell is folky prog. You Two Wide Awake in America with the shrink wrap and the hype sticker. So yeah, and I really like that version of Bad that's on here, that live version. Ozzy, No Rest for the Wicked. Yeah, rare record in super good condition. White Snake, love this one. Played the hell out of it when I was a teenager. Played the hell out of that one too, but yeah, that's a nice clean copy with a clean cover, which is nice to see. And Black Sabbath, The Eternal Idol, hard one to find, so I grabbed it. And that is it for the flip. Now on to the details in the next segment. So that was everything from the past month, maybe the past 6 weeks even. And some of the stuff I bought within the last 6 weeks I've already sold. So there were actually even a few more than that, but I've gotten rid of quite a few. But now we are going to look a little bit closer at a few of these, quite a few of these actually. Starting with this beauty right here, Rubicon. Now you might be asking yourself, why would I need to know anything more about this record? Everything I need to know, I can see right there on the cover. Yeah, well actually, the music on this is far better than the cover would give you, that impression that it's going to be terrible. It's actually quite listenable. It's early 80s rock, poppy kind of stuff. But you've got Brad Gillis and Jack Blades, who went on to be in Night Ranger, are both in this band. So this was kind of a pleasant surprise. This was like a $2 purchase, and for $2 it was worth it. But I will be selling it because I don't want to have this cover in my house. It kind of scares me a little bit. I don't want this thing coming to life and killing me in my sleep. Another $2 purchase, a band that I had no idea about, McKenzie Spring, Tracks. These guys are very early. I think this album was 72, and this is early country rock like Poco, early Eagles, Flying Burrito Brothers, that kind of stuff. Really well done though. They do have other records, so I'm going to keep an eye out for them. But this was another surprise. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a little more pop, and it's in that early Eagles vein for sure. So definitely worth it if you see it and it's cheap. Even if it's $5, pick it up. Yes, this looks trashed. This corner is missing, but it does have the original inner in one piece. And this one, when I looked it up on Discogs, there was something a little bit special about it. Once I found the exact pressing, it said some of these are, I'm going to turn this light on for a minute, some of these are on brown translucent vinyl. So yes, I'm going to clean this again after I've touched it with my fingers, but yeah, so it is a brown translucent copy, which I had no idea that they even had any of those. This record is not in the best shape. It looks like it got invited to every party in high school. It's got a lot of, not any deep scratches, but it has got a ton of sleeve scuffs, so it might have gotten left out and passed around, and it still sounds pretty good because most of the record's pretty loud, but it's not the greatest copy. But it is really cool that it's that brown translucent vinyl, and it does have the original inner, so that's kind of a selling point, I guess. This one, not that you can really see that, this is like an extended single. Trans X, Living on Video. I saw this in the bin at my local record store in like the $2 bins, and something about the name kind of rang a bell, but I couldn't remember the song. But it was $2, so I bought it and I brought it home, and as soon as I put it on, I was like, oh yeah, this song. This was early dance techno. This was like 83. Yeah, 83. So this would have been a huge song in clubs. And this is a guy out of Montreal, basically. It's one guy, he had other bit players with him, but yeah, he was from Montreal and named the band Trans X after Kraftwerk's record Trans Europe Express. He just took the Trans X. That's what he called his, well, not even a band really, his musical organization, I guess. But Living on Video, if you don't know the song or you kind of remember the name and don't remember the song completely, give it a listen on any of the platforms. I'm sure it's out there, or on YouTube, because it's a really well done song for early. It reminds me of early Depeche Mode, Yaz, yeah, just that kind of early, even Human League kind of stuff, early techno, but really well done, and a much longer mix. Really good electronic instrumentation. So definitely a cool one. This one, Blondie, Auto American. This was another, I think this was a $5 record. But the thing I never knew about this record for my whole life, because I've never owned it before, is that my whole life I thought this was a photograph. So maybe I'm just dumb, or maybe my eyes are just really bad, but this is actually a painting on the front cover. And I never noticed, because I was always looking at it at a distance in a record rack, and I never bought it. And then I got it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a painting. I just thought it was a cityscape of New York, you know. Blondie are a New York band, so I thought, okay, well that's a pretty easy place to shoot an album cover. But that's a painting. I don't know who did the painting. I probably could have found that out if I would have read the liner notes, but I didn't do that yet. So, man, that one I'm not going to talk about. The Nice, Ars Vita Longa Brevis. What's interesting about this is Ars Vita Longa Brevis means art lasts long, life is short. And this is Keith Emerson, who went on to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, early days for him. The biggest known song they did was a cover of America from West Side Story with, you know, a little more bombastic than the Broadway version. But yeah, but it's still a very good record, and a lot of experimental prog kind of psychedelic stuff. Yeah, there's some really, really, well, just weird tracks on this record, but good, interesting, worth a listen. And it's a nice copy on Immediate, on the pink purple Immediate label. I don't know if you can see that through the inner, but yeah, it's a good record. Now this is starting to get into the stuff that I bought at the record sale last weekend, maybe last weekend. This was my most expensive purchase. I'm going to take the outer sleeve off so you don't see how much it cost, but a nice, super clean, pristine, near mint cover and inner, or cover and vinyl and inner of the Smiths' first record. I'm not a huge Smiths fan, but I do like the Smiths, and I do like Johnny Marr's guitar playing. So I saw that, and I've never seen it before. I've never seen the first Smiths record anywhere, even at record shows, record sales. So most likely I'll end up selling that on to someone else, but I am going to keep it for a while and listen a few times. And I may still change my mind. It's a possibility. Hey, look. Another copy of Caress of Steel, a much cleaner and better copy this time. And I actually paid less for this one. So I paid more for a worse copy. But yeah, this is a replacement for the one I had before that I paid too much for when I was just compulsively buying. Well, this one's a replacement. So this was a more logical purchase, and it's still a great record. Lakeside Park, still phenomenal song. Very Canadian, that one. Next up, Humble Pie. Let me take that off. Humble Pie, Smokin'. Tough album to find, actually. Tough to find in good condition, tough to find clean. But Humble Pie are a really good band that never really took off in North America. They did the way they did in the UK. On here, 30 Days in the Hole is on here, and a song called You're So Good to Me. That's got Greg Ridley, the bass player, is singing the lead on that. But one cool thing about Humble Pie, you got 3 singers. So you've got Steve Marriott singing, you've got Greg Ridley singing, and you've got Peter Frampton singing. So sometimes it's all 3, sometimes they're taking turns, but yeah, they're a phenomenal band. Yeah, just I can't say enough good things about Humble Pie. I think this might have been after Frampton was gone. But my favorite Humble Pie record is Rock On. I think I have like 3 copies of that because I can't leave it if I see it somewhere and it's a good copy. And I've given a couple away already too. So someday I will speak in depth about Humble Pie, but not today, just a little bit. This one, I have no idea whether it's good or bad. I just saw Mariachi Brass featuring Chet Baker, and there is Chet Baker on the back. So I'm guessing this is going to be a pretty good record. I could be wrong, but I will let you know. And it's in really good shape. The cover's in great shape, and it's a classic 60s cover. Obviously, this didn't get a whole lot of play because it's got the delete punch mark down in the bottom, so that one I will give a spin later on. Now this one I picked up at my local record store. Yes, it was 20 bucks, 20 bucks Canadian. But this record, I think, has my favorite REM song on it, which would be Pop Song 89. I don't know why that's my favorite, and some of the stuff off Monster I really like, some stuff from Dead Letter Office I really like, but this record, this to me is REM in their prime. Yeah, this is the era of REM I like the best, and well, this one's got the delete punch hole in it too, which I can't believe. I can't believe this didn't sell when it was on the shelves the first time. But I was very happy to get a nice, clean, good copy of that, my favorite REM record, because anybody who collects records knows that REM stuff doesn't usually hang around very long. Next up, also from my local record store, is another Dave Brubeck with a killer cover. There's Dave with a traditional bit of headgear on and 19 Pan Am carry-on bags getting piled on him. A very, very cool retro cover. Haven't listened to this yet, but it's Brubeck, so I know I'm gonna like it, because I always like Brubeck. This one, this was finally, I got a decent copy of LA Woman. This was the only Doors record. I mean, I've got multiple copies of multiple Doors records, but this one I could never seem to find a decent copy. This is a mid-80s, maybe late 70s, like 79 they switched to the red, and up to the probably 84, 83, 84. So, but it's a nice clean copy. It sounds really good. I have listened to that one all the way through. Yeah, phenomenal record. Someday I will do a whole Doors thing, because I'm a bit of a maniac for the Doors since I have been since I was like 8 years old, which is kind of weird, but yeah, we'll get to that later too. This one, $5, I think it was $2.50 actually. Sandy. So this is Sandy Denny. If you don't know who Sandy Denny was, she was in a group called Fairport Convention that were very folky, traditional British folk kind of stuff. And she is the female voice on The Battle of Evermore by Led Zeppelin. She passed away quite young, but yeah, she just had an amazing voice. I haven't listened to the solo record. I don't know what the ratings are on it. I don't know what other people think of it, but I'm gonna give it a spin anyway, because yeah, her voice is phenomenal. A little funk. We've got Lakeside, Fantastic Voyage. So yes, that's where Coolio got Fantastic Voyage from, is Lakeside. I don't know a whole lot of other Lakeside music, to be honest. This was the only Lakeside record I really knew, and this was, you know, relatively cheap. This was $8. So for $8, funk is hard to find as well. Funk seems, I sell a ton of funk. If I get Rufus, if I get Lakeside, if I get the Gap Band, it sells really fast on my Discog store. So maybe I'll keep that one for myself. Maybe I'll sell it on if somebody really wants it. This one, this is a great record. I knew of this one because Greg Allman plays on, I think, 4 or 5 tracks on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. at least 4 tracks. You've got Greg Allman. So this was King Curtis playing at Muscle Shoals with the Swampers, if you know where Muscle Shoals in Alabama, the studio, and the house band were the Swampers, and Dwayne was basically a Swamper, or an honorary Swamper, I guess. He was a studio guy there. So there's tons of music that came out of that studio that has Dwayne Allman on it. This is another one that I heard from the Skydog Dwayne Allman box set. Had a few King Curtis tunes on it with him playing, and as soon as I saw this, it's like, oh, that's got to be the record, and it is. And this is a mint copy in shrink. Looks like it never got played. It's got a Miracle Mart price tag on it. I don't even know where Miracle Mart is. I've never even heard of that, but yeah, King Curtis. And actually at the record store where I bought it, they put it on in the store, and it sounded fantastic. So I haven't listened to it at home yet, but I will eventually. Now we get into the metal section. This was also from Rockbox Records. That's where the King Curtis came from. This one, Black Sabbath, The Eternal Idol. Very, very tough title to find. I've listened to this album a few times, but it's been years. So I can't remember whether it's good or bad, but I know it's rare, so that's why I bought it. And it's in shrink, and the vinyl is perfect. So maybe I will keep it. Maybe I will sell it on to some other lucky person out there. Now the next Black Sabbath record I got, I will be keeping, because it's tough to find a nice clean copy of Master of Reality, but I found one. Now this one is one of the ones that doesn't have the Master of Reality across the bottom, but it's got a clean black cover. That is a rarity, so that makes me happy. And it's a clean copy. It is the later Warner Brothers label. I would have preferred a palm tree, or, you know, one of the earlier, a green label would have been really nice, but it's not very likely that you're going to find that very clean. Here's another little heavy metal masterpiece from my youth, the Whitesnake record, and it's in shrink, and it's got the inner, and it's clean, and it still sounds great. It's still a really good record. I still love this record. Slide It In's a great record, but that was a little bit before my teenage years. This was, you know, what, 87? Yeah, 87. So I was in like 9th grade when this came out, so it was perfect timing for that. Yeah, it's still a good sounding record. Coverdale's voice was awesome then. Coverdale's voice, I don't know what it's like now. Hopefully it's better than Vince Neil's. And this was the last one I bought. Very difficult to find as well. Ozzy, No Rest for the Wicked. And it's super clean. It doesn't have any scratches on it. The inner is good. The vinyl is perfect. I'm not crazy about this record, but when I saw it, I've never seen it before, and I might never see it again, so I bought it. So this is the kind of impulsive buying I've been doing lately. So that is the run through of, you know, the close-up of the stuff that I showed in the flip video. And that's going to be it for today. I don't know if I have any questions to ask anybody about this stuff or not. If I asked anything, I would probably say, favorite Black Sabbath record. I'm going to ask 3. Favorite Black Sabbath record, favorite REM record, and favorite, let's say, favorite Rush record. There we go, a little Canadian content. So tell me any of those. That's what I want in the comments. Yeah, yep, that sounds good. And for that, I think we're gonna call it a day, because I'm getting kind of tired.